So I've always had this problem with so I peed the bed till I was like fucking 10, dude. You know?
I can see it.
I can see it. So I don't know, man. Like I've always just, and then obviously I got over that. Like I stopped peeing the bed, but like I always like it comes back to haunt me every now and then. I don't pee the bed anymore, but like I just have situations where I just fucking pee on things, or like one time I peed like I told the pee story about Sarah where I peed all over her stuff in the shower, and then like one time I peed in our closet because I thought it was. I mean, every time I've been drunk, one time I peed in the closet because I thought it was in the restroom. Well, this one time like 3 years ago, it was my buddies from Corpus. It was when I still lived in Corpus. They wanted to come up to Austin to like celebrate, like, oh, it's like your last little like hurrah before you're a dad kind of thing, right? So we came up to Austin and we got a hotel on 6th Street, and it was we drove up on a Friday, and we got to like the hotel and got ready and whatever, like, and it was like 12:30, so we only had like an hour and a half to go out to the bars that night. And whenever you're like time constricted like that, it's almost like you're just like, let's just pound it, let's just like get a drink here and then go to the next bar, then go to the next bar, and then we were just pounding drinks, right? So then 2:00 rolls around, we go back to the hotel, and my buddy Daniel, we all have to use the restroom. Daniel fucking goes in first. He uses the restroom. He comes out. He locks the fucking door to this restroom. We're all staying in this one hotel, right? One hotel room, 2 beds, because we're like, oh, let's save money, whatever. We'll all sleep together. It was 4 dudes. So it's like, okay, 2 of us will sleep on one bed. The 2 others will sleep on the other bed. And fucking Daniel locks the door to the fucking restroom, right? And it's like, oh, fuck, I have to pee bad, dude. But I was like, fuck it, I'll just go to sleep. We'll get somebody to unlock it in the morning. So I'm sleeping in the bed with my buddy Ruben. And in the middle of the night, apparently I wake up, dude. It's like fucking 4 a.m. I wake up and I go to use the restroom, but it's fucking locked. And I'm walking back to the bed, and I stop at the fucking edge of the bed, and Ruben wakes up. I don't remember any of this. Ruben wakes up and he's like, Chris, no. Don't do it. I whip my fucking dick out. And I start peeing on the fucking bed, like on Ruben's feet, dude.
Oh, I thought you were
like
gonna be on his
end
face.
of the bed. No. At the end of the bed, and Ruben's like crawling away from like my pee stream, dude. Yeah. And he was like, and I just pee all over the bed, and then when I'm done, I just get back into bed and fall asleep. Well, Ruben got engaged, and we went to his engagement party like last week. And he brought it up. He was like, dude, remember like a couple of years ago, like whenever, we were on 6th Street and you fucking peed on me? And I was like, yeah, how could I forget? And he was like, dude, I didn't tell you this, but like, I fucking like contemplated leaving. Like this dude was like, fuck this, man. I didn't come here to get peed on. And like he was like looking up Greyhounds. Like he looked up like the bus schedule, and he was like, man, fuck this shit, man. Like, and he got all this shit, and he like packed up, and he was like walking like.
Honestly, I would have left.
And he was like going.
I would have left.
I didn't know. He told me this last week. He walked out of the room, and he was like walking, and he's like looking at like Greyhounds, and he's like he couldn't fucking find one. He was like, man, like. Fuck, like all pissed off. He's like, man, fuck, I'm not gonna leave, man. And he just turned around and got back into bed and fell asleep. I'm sorry, Ruben. I peed on your feet, bro.
Chris, no.
But he was like,
I thought you were peeing on his face.
I didn't even know. No, I didn't know. He told me this last week. He was like, dude, I saw the whole thing happen. He was like, no,
I was powerless.
No,
stop
don't
it.
do it, no. And like, fucking, I peed all over him.
Don't do it.
What are you doing,
No.
Chris? Oh my god! And then when he told me that, just hear me out.
And
Put it away.
Didn't remember?
No, dude. I woke up the next day and I was like, why the fuck are my feet wet? Why is it wet down there?
Why is Ruben all pissed?
Why is he all mad?
Literally.
Yeah.
Hey, Ruben. Hey, guys, Ruben peed.
Yeah, I was like, hey, Ruben, are we here to have fun? Or are we here to make faces, bro? Why are y'all mad? He's like, you peed on me, dude. I was like, la madre. I'm sorry, bro.
Whatever, Ruben. That was sorry, your pee.
So I love you, bro. I'm sorry I peed. I pee on the people I love, man. Sorry, Ruben.
Sign of respect.
Sign of respect, for sure.
Oh, man, that was hilarious.
Jesus Christ.
So if
How
I
many
pee
pee
on
stories do you
guys-
have, man?
I got a couple more. We'll see. I mean,
Got a couple more in the back pocket.
saving them for a later date.
Saves them for different cold opens. This show is like 90% Chris's
My pee stories.
We should change our name.
Yeah.
Your memoir is going to be titled "Places I've Peed."
The places that I yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I like R. Kelly, bro. My favorite
Too
artist.
far, bro. Too far. Well, we are at number 9 now. This is episode number 9 of the Well-Mannered Cartel. I'm Tom.
Mike.
Marlon.
Chris.
And so today, I mean, it's football season.
Football season is upon us.
It is upon us. So today we're just going to we've designated just an entire episode to football. We're going to talk about, what we think about the NFL, our predictions, the crazy offseason that's, happened. And then we're going to get into a little bit of fantasy football, talk about our league a little bit. We're going to cover our league. We're going to have a little segment away from the main podcast, but, we'll talk about it from, we'll explain everything when we get there later on today. But how was an offseason for you guys' team, man? Chris is a Cowboy fan. Marlon's a Cowboy fan. I'm a Texan fan. And Mike is a Colts fan. So a lot of crazy shit's been happening for all three of these teams.
Yeah, I feel like Mike was a Colts fan. Mike, are you gonna get a new team, dude? Because I know you followed the Colts because Andrew Luck was like your favorite player of all time, and so you're like, I'm gonna be like a Colt fan.
Who's your favorite of all time?
LeBron James?
Yeah, think
LeBron
about it.
James.
It was Andrew Luck.
Yeah, it's Andrew Luck. Dude.
Don't play.
So now, are you gonna stay a Colts fan, dude? Are you gonna switch?
No, I'm not gonna switch. I'm not
You're not
I'm
gonna
not
jump
just gonna
ship?
jump off just like that. But we'll see after the season.
You're gonna become a Texans fan? Don't do that,
that's
bro.
not
Don't
the
do
sound
that,
of a
bro.
good fan.
Yeah, dude, you're fucking
Good fan
switching,
doesn't say
dude. You're
that.
switching, bro.
So this whole off season, I was pretty much kind of out on football in general.
Yeah.
Not really anything specific. I was just couldn't really get into it the off season at all. And then
And then got punished,
And
you
then-
That's what you get.
and then the week before I did my first fantasy draft in another league that I was in. We drafted a couple weeks ago. I was starting to get back in. It was
Yeah.
pulling me back in. And so the other league that I'm in, we were going to draft on a Sunday morning. And so I was meeting up with some friends on a Saturday night, and one of my buddies tells me "Hey Mike, Andrew Luck retired?"
What?
And I was like, "Shut the fuck up." And then
Don't you say that.
Sure enough, maybe a minute
And I
later,
slapped him.
a minute or two later, I pulled up my phone and I see an ESPN alert. And it
Oh
says,
my God.
Andrew Luck retires. And I'm
Jeez.
staring at my phone just for a solid minute and a half. What?
Dude,
And
it's
for-
crazy how it happened in the middle of a preseason
Yeah.
game too. It was the
Well,
third
it
quarter.
was what's his name? Was it
So-
Schefter?
Schefter broke it.
So,
broke the
I
news.
could only imagine how bad you felt, dude. He was like,
Dude.
you're a dude, bro.
Oh
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, Mike would perform fellatio, no questions asked.
That's
On Andrew
no,
Luck.
I would ask questions for sure.
But I would do it. But I would do it. Asking questions.
Andrew Luck.
What am I doing here?
Andrew Luck, how do you like it?
No, but dude, it's so heartbreaking
Yeah.
because I feel like this is the best team the
this is
Colts
the
have
best-
ever had.
This is for sure.
They were
This was
Super Bowl
definitely-
favorites, dude. Really,
No, they
on
weren't
the defense.
favorites, but
Ever
they were-
had?
Dude, I mean,
They won a
have
Super
they
Bowl.
Ever, no, I know, but
No,
did
this
they
is
ever have a better
Andrew Luck's
defense?
best team.
Yeah,
his best team.
dude, this is how hard it is. Fucking the Colts had Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck for 20 seasons.
Yeah, dude, you
and
hit the
won
lottery.
one Super Bowl, dude.
You hit the lottery
One-
with a quarterback.
Yeah, but they only
Yeah.
won one Super Bowl.
Yeah.
With those two
Yeah.
all-time quarterbacks, really,
Yeah,
as far as skill level, all-time skill
I
level.
think this is
That's how hard it is to win in the fucking NFL.
No, absolutely. I mean, but Andrew Luck didn't have the pieces around him for a
Right,
long time.
right.
And now that he has the pieces around him,
Dude,
he's gone.
he's so beat up, and
He's so
he just
tired
can't
of
do
it.
it anymore. you
But
know?
like, okay,
do you respect it though? Because I know
get it.
some people
No.
felt a certain way. They booed him.
They booed him, dude.
I
The
will
boo.
say, like,
I didn't agree with the
when
booing. Like, what the?
I'm not. I
No,
don't judge the booing
what I
that
was gonna
much
say was,
because the
like-
timing was fucked.
Yeah, because one, the timing of it, and then two, like he hadn't announced. All we knew was that he was like quitting. So when
Yeah.
you hear like somebody's like retiring or quitting, like you feel like
Yeah.
this person's just fucking quitting. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, he goes up to the podium after that and he gives his little spiel
Right.
about how like, hey, you know, this game has taken a lot out of me, like physically. Then you're
Right.
like more in a frame of mind to be like, okay, well,
Yeah.
it's a little
More
more
empathetic.
understandable. Yeah,
And
you're more
yeah.
empathetic at that point. But when all you hear is like this person quit, like, I mean,
Yeah, I heard the new. I saw the fucking. My buddy sent me a screenshot. I saw it and I was like, he was like, I don't believe it until he says something himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he had his press conference and I was like, okay. But when I heard him out, I was like, I get it. You know, like
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm a Texan fan, so I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
But no, but like just trying to like empathize with.
No, for sure.
I completely understand where the fuck he was coming from.
It makes sense because it sounded more like he was just like it wasn't just like the
like,
injury.
just
It was just he was
worn out.
exhausted
Yeah,
of dealing with
mentally
injuries, right?
And like emotionally,
And like when he was like, dude, I'm just not happy anymore. It's like,
Yeah.
dude,
For sure.
like,
And he
I
just
get
got
it.
married and
Yeah.
he probably wants to start a family.
I think
and
his
he-
wife is pregnant. Actually,
And
like,
he's a smart motherfucker. Dude, he went to he went to
Stanford.
Stanford. Like he's super
Stanford.
smart. Stanford.
Stanford.
Like he doesn't need fucking football, dude. That dude's gonna be
No,
fine.
plus he comes from like a privileged family. Like his dad was
Yeah.
Oliver Luck. Like his dad runs the XFL now.
That's right.
Like-
Oh, his dad used to be an executive for the Dynamo, right?
He used to
Yeah.
be the GM.
GM
Yeah.
for the Dynamo.
And then he went to West Virginia, and then he was, I think, maybe like the Big
So
East or Big
he's
12.
fine.
His dad ran the NFL Europe when it
oh,
existed.
that's right.
Yeah, so yeah,
And
Luck
so-
spent a lot of time in Germany,
Yeah,
I think, or
yeah.
something.
So
Yeah.
he's he
So he's
doesn't
like,
need
yeah, he
like
doesn't need football. Like,
yeah.
No, dude. Andrew Luck is a smart dude. He's not one of those guys where you don't. You see a person, you're like, that dude can only play football. Andrew
Right.
Luck's not one of those guys. That dude has a great head on his shoulders. He'll
Right.
be fucking absolutely 100% better off than we are.
Right.
So-
Dude, but it's just like it sucks. It's kind of sad as a like, cause I'm a football fan. I'm not a Colts fan, but like, you know, when you
You
see some
respect
dude that
the-
like
when you lose a great,
like
like
great,
that.
because he is like he was a fucking like without a doubt. Nobody's like, well,
Yeah.
Andrew Luck
yeah,
sucks.
like if
The only
Aaron
knock
Rodgers
was-
retires,
Yeah.
you know, next season or whatever,
Yeah.
like I'm. Gonna
And
be
I
like,
fucking
"God,
hate
like,
Aaron
man."
Rodgers because he's like the Cowboys' kryptonite. But he fucking like, but he's greatness. Like you just fucking, you understand that like you recognize that shit, and it's kind of sad when they move along.
Yeah.
And like Luck had like a legit, like he had, like,
Yeah,
he could have gone for
it's-
another 10 years
yeah,
easy, dude.
It's definitely like his career will always be like a what if, you
Right.
know? Like what if
You
they did things
never know he might
differently,
come back.
yeah. I don't
You
know.
never know.
I'm not betting on it, but
I'm not saying I'm
not
betting on it
saying
either. I'm
2
just
years.
saying you never know.
But
And,
like when you compete for that long, like how do you not get an itch? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like in 2 years when he's completely healthy and he's been retired for 2 years, he could come back and he could still be on top of his game in 2 years.
Yeah.
I think
He'll
he
be
can
like
take 2 years
31.
off and still be a top 10 quarterback easy.
He'll be like 31 in 2
Yeah.
years. So
So I mean, never say never, and it might not be with the Colts. I actually read an article
they
saying
have
that he could
his-
go to the Cowboys in 2 years. But
he's under
I
contract.
thought Dak was
so
great.
hey,
If
we'll
he
get
comes
into that
back,
later.
he's still under contract.
Yeah. I mean,
Well, I mean,
how does
because
that
I mean, the
work?
Colts let him walk away with like $27,000.
Well, they
$4
didn't
million.
they didn't let him. They could have
I mean,
collected
it's
money
million,
from
I'm
him.
sorry.
Yeah, it was
$24,000.
Jesus.
Es un pedo, dude. He
They
Jesus
paid
Christ.
him and they didn't recoup it.
Yeah, they
Like,
could have recouped like 20 million,
Thousand.
$20.
They're like, yeah, keep it.
I think I'll fucking
You
keep it.
know, I throw him a bone.
But okay, do you think if he was with a different organization that had like that didn't have Jim Irsay as their owner, like he would still be in the league? Because I've heard that was one of the that maybe Jim Irsay being like a sporadic crazy ass owner might have had something to do with it.
I mean, I don't think he's like the worst owner that you could have.
I mean,
so.
but he like
He's
smokes
pretty
crack.
fucking crazy.
Yeah, dude. He's
Name
like a
a
crackhead.
more worse owner, a worser.
a worser.
Way worse.
Who owns the Browns?
I don't know. They made some pretty good moves. Is obviously.
I mean, they're doing better now.
So
I'd rather play for the Browns at this point. than the
Yeah,
Colts.
dude, but it's been a wild fuck. I don't remember an offseason being this fucking crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we
like
had
with all the holdouts,
Yeah.
and Antonio Brown shit going on. Like,
Antonio Brown lost his damn mind.
but dude, like I heard that like, so now okay, so he burned his feet or whatever in the fucking
He burnt them.
whatever.
The opposite.
And then he, and then he like, well, I mean, frostbite. It's like burn, whatever. The opposite.
So
the
exact opposite.
But then like he threatened to punch the GM and shit.
Yeah.
And like he fucking punted a ball at him or
Called
something.
him a cracker.
He called him a cracker. But like, dude,
Pulling the race
I don't know
car.
if you guys remember, but I think we talked about this before. How when he first got into the league, he was kind of like a no nonsense, just like head down,
Like he was
grinder.
the hardest worker in the
and was just performing and was just staying in line. And then ever since fucking Burfict lit him the fuck up 2 or 3 years ago, he's been going off the rails, dude.
Yeah, it was
and so
kind of
people were saying like, does he have CTE
like,
now?
Off of one incident.
I mean,
Well,
maybe it's an accumulation,
yeah.
but like he's kind of been really kind of off the rails in the last couple of years. Like just been like more like in the news. And stuff.
But how prevalent is CT with like wide receivers? Because like
it's not. I mean,
wide receivers don't get head-to-head contact that often. Usually, it's
Right.
going to be people like linebackers who are just actually fucking making contact every single play. Wide receivers don't get hit every single play.
So you think like money and fame?
I don't know, man. Because sometimes you don't even really have to get like knocked the fuck out to get like CT. Because they say that like skiers because you know when you're skiing, you kind of do this.
Well,
thing.
yeah, I was
You're
gonna say,
fucking going up and down.
Oh, so that can cause
That
it
can cause it because it's making your brain bounce.
What
in
I
your
was gonna
head,
say
and
was it's
soccer
not
players
necessarily.
yeah, with headbutts.
I remember
headers.
I remember doing like a little bit of research on this like 2 years ago. From what I remember, it's not necessarily like the hit itself that causes the impact. I mean, that causes CT. It's the motion.
Right.
So like you getting flung from.
And
yeah,
then-
and
and
you
the
know what?
constant-
Maybe, man, because like we were talking about this in chat yesterday, man. Like you were talking. I hit my brother whenever we were in high school.
Oh, yeah.
Like I lit him up.
Yeah.
But practicing in high school, even man, you're hitting heads. Like
Yeah.
there are several times where like I got hit and I blacked out,
Dude.
for a few seconds.
Yeah.
You know, like that's like normal. You know what I mean? I mean,
Right.
maybe now there's more like precautionary sort of
Maybe.
measures that are taking now, but. No, man, like head to head, like that was just part of practice every day,
Right.
you know. So maybe it is an accumulation, you know. I mean, who knows?
I remember once I used to box when I was a kid. I was like 8, 9, 10, and like I never got like knocked out in a fight or anything. But one time I was sparring with this kid that was older than me. And when you're sparring, you're not really supposed to go hard, you know, because it's like your teammate. It's like the guy that is in your gym. But this guy was a little heavier than I was, and he was a couple years older than I was, and we were sparring. And I don't know if I walked into this punch or if he was like trying to hurt me or something. This dude threw a right hook, and I was on the ropes, and I remember he hit me, and I didn't like. You see stars, like I didn't black out, but like the whole stars shit, like that happens. Like if you get fucking hit hard enough, like I saw like flashes. And I remember I couldn't really control my legs. Like I felt like jello. And it was the weirdest fucking feel. I didn't fall because I was against the ropes. I think the ropes caught me. But I was like, I don't think a 9-year-old should be feeling this shit. And I don't think that's good for you. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
One time so we were doing special teams in practice. I think I was a sophomore, and I was on the scout kickoff team. So we were kicking off to the return team.
Yeah.
And we kicked it off, and some dude just blindsided me like at the side of the helmet. And I remember just like seeing black for a few seconds, and then before like I like completely went limp, like I was able to like maintain like my equilibrium.
Yes. Yeah.
And so like I came back to it, but like I'm pretty sure I had a concussion at that point because the next few days was not a normal couple days.
Right.
But that's just like the shit you live with. So I can
Right.
you know like I don't know. It's
But
wild.
like back then, nobody. I mean,
Yeah.
this wasn't like a topic back then. People didn't talk about like.
Well, there was
CTE.
like there was no long-term research on it.
Right.
Like, you know, like the research has been developed over all these years.
Yeah,
So.
but that's crazy. Like,
But they're talking about like designing like wild helmets and like crazy
Yeah.
state of the art. But at the end of the day, man, you're still gonna
Yeah.
you're gonna have that impact. Your
Right.
your brain is gonna, like you said, that motion is still gonna occur.
Right.
It's not. I don't know if there's any way around it in
Probably
the
not.
sport.
And
you know.
you know, these guys are getting paid millions and millions of dollars, and they know what they're signing up for. So it's like, do you feel bad for them? Like, yeah, you don't want them to be like, you know, end up like Junior Seau and shit, like, you know, committing suicide and shit because
Aaron Hernandez
doing some crazy shit. But it's like, yeah, you kind of sign up for that shit. You know that it's football, you're gonna get hit.
Yeah.
And like, you kind of like, if you don't get hit in football, then it's not football,
Yeah.
right? And then you're just playing fucking touch football,
Hey.
and nobody's gonna watch that shit.
So,
How do you feel about Pee Wee football? Like,
I
would
don't
you
know,
let your
man.
son play Pee Wee?
Probably not, dude. Knowing what I mean, because like the odds of him making it to the NFL, it's not worth this. Like, it's not worth the risk, you know.
Yeah.
No, absolutely
You
not.
know what I mean? So it's kind of like,
I think it's like crazy, man, because you have those people that are like super gung ho, especially here in Texas,
Yeah.
gung ho about fucking Pee Wee football. Guys who, you know, were never any good or just like gung ho living vicariously through their
Their-
7-year-old.
yeah,
Like,
their
calm
kids.
down,
Yeah,
dude.
For sure.
It wasn't CTE or a concussion or anything like that. But when I was in middle school, I had this. I was a late bloomer. I didn't have my growth spurt till I was a senior in high school probably.
Échale.
But so I was a little short kid in middle school, and I was playing football.
Getting all the bitches.
I played football.
Now I'm hot, they all on me.
I played football, and I remember this guy Sammy. He was one of the kids that was like, you know, just towering over me. And we were buddies or whatever. Like in football practice, we'd goof around and just, you know, kind of
Just fucking around.
fucking around with people.
Being bulls.
But it was one day that we had to, three of us had to leave early from football practice. So we went back to the locker room to change. And when we went to the locker room, we got into the locker room. We had like a good practice, and we were all like pumped up or whatever. And he's like hit me like on the helmet, you know, like head to head, like as hard as you can. And I hit him, but when I hit him, he like ducked down a little bit. So I hit him, and it was just like, you know, he ducked down a little bit, and then he's like, and then I'm like, oh, you know, I was all pumped up, and he's like, I was like, oh, you know, now my turn. But when he hit me from like up above where his stature. So the hit was like up here, and I just felt my spine crack.
Oh no!
I felt like a spine, dude. I felt like a crack in my spine, and then and it was like, you know how when somebody knocks the wind out of you,
Yeah.
like you feel like you can't breathe. Nobody hit me anywhere near my diaphragm or anything to knock the wind out of me, but I felt like I couldn't breathe, and I was just like,
Yeah, dude.
I collapsed.
Oh my God,
I collapsed, dude, because I was just like.
oh my
And
God.
there were the two kids that the guy that I was messing around with, and the other kid like freaked the fuck out.
Está muerto.
And they were
Está muerto.
he's dead. But they brought the nurse. The nurse came over, and for months, dude, the nurse came over, and she was like,
El
she was like,
muertito.
oh, because in the interim of what, you know, however long it took her to get to the locker room, I sat up and I was just like, okay, I recovered. I could breathe again, and I was just like, oh, I was freaking, I was shaking.
It's wild.
And then
El rap
and then
zombie, mira. Back from the dead.
back from the dead, ah, mira, he's a zombie.
you look like a zombie rock zombies.
And so the nurse checked me out and everything, and I the nurse checked me out. What's up? No. And she was like, oh, you shouldn't have sat up because you could have like spine damage. And I was like, okay, I feel fine, like I'm okay now or whatever, right? But for months, for months after that, dude, I couldn't run because as soon as I would start running, like
I would
my back,
shit myself. You just-
I would only be able to run like a zombie. No, my back would hurt, and that lasted for months, dude.
So they diagnose you with anything? Or
No,
they tell you what it
so
was?
I randomly, I couldn't run with all the other kids, and one day randomly, I was just I was crying by myself at the monkey bars, dude. Like seriously. And I hung from the monkey bars. And it was a little bit taller than I was. So I jumped up and I was just hanging there. And then I just relaxed all of my muscles except for my arms. So I was just like literally just like limp.
You
there.
were crying though at the time?
I was, yeah, I mean,
No.
I thought this was going to be permanent. I thought like every time I tried to run.
No. Okay. I just wanted to get
So I relaxed everything except for my arms that were just gripping the handle. And I felt a crack again in my spine. And that was it, dude. After that, like I was able to run.
What the fuck? How long did that last?
That lasted for a good 2 months, dude.
What the fuck?
Good
So
2
it was
months.
like
Scary,
out of
bro.
line there. Something was not in alignment.
Something was up, dude, because it wouldn't hurt. Like I could sit down, I could like bend down, and everything was fine, except when I would do the motion, like when I would
Run?
the compression.
I saw the way I pictured is like everyone's running, having a great time, and you can't run, and you're just
Yeah.
like fully like padded up in like
Yeah.
your uniform. Hello, was it me you're looking for? And you just start crying.
well,
and then you just grab on,
dude. They made me water boy for that for those 2 months, dude. I was just like, okay, suit up, because I was part of the like just suit up, and I would no, not the shoulder pads,
dude. That's a
and I would just
story.
put like the shorts, the athletic shorts or whatever. The Miller Jordan middle school athletics. And I would just be there with the water.
God, dude. That kid almost killed you, man.
Dude, but I found out that kid actually, like, after I went to college and stuff, he actually died in a car accident.
That's what he gets.
Oh, shit.
I'm kidding.
That's actually pretty sad.
That's pretty sad. Sorry to that kid.
As Cowboys fans, were you guys like scared at all that Zeke wouldn't sign?
No, dude.
Whoa,
my theory is no, it's kind of morbid. It's kind of morbid. It goes along with it. I think Jerry wants to win one more before he goes, bro. And I think he's willing to do whatever. And so paying a fucking running back $90 million to get it done, I knew he was gonna sign. Like,
I didn't think it was that crazy. I know there's some Cowboy fans who don't like it. I think that this offense was definitely built around him.
Right.
I don't think that Dak, you don't want to put the game on that dude's shoulders. Right. Zeke is the talisman. He is who you're gonna, who this offense was built around. You have to fucking pay that guy.
He is the Cowboys right now. You're right. Like, they did build the whole fucking offense around him.
You can make the argument like, well, you have the line.
Yeah,
you can put anybody back there, and that's not the case.
But the thing is, like, the there's like fine lines between being a good team and then being like a team that can win, like a Super Bowl. Look, or like can contend.
I'm not a Cowboy fan, but I seriously think, just on paper and then like with the preseason and everything like that, I think like the Cowboys have a good shot, man. I mean, they have a running game, they have a great line.
Right.
Dak can get it done, and they have a great defense. If you don't have a great running game, if you don't have Dak, you're not in contention. And so I feel like you had to pay him.
And it all feeds on each other. The reason why the defense is great is because the Cowboys are a possession team. And so that defense gets a lot of rest. And so they can fucking go hard as fuck on the defense because they control the clock. But if you don't have a running back like Zeke, you're not going to be able to control the clock that way and like to sustain drives like that.
For sure.
And so it just like, it was like a domino effect, dude. If we didn't sign Zeke, it would put the fucking team back like 3 or 4 years. Like, there's no way that they would be even in contention for the Super Bowl. And at least right now, I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl or they're favorites, but they're a lot closer with Zeke than without Zeke.
But I've heard it's like, I haven't looked into the specifics of the contract, but it's not like he is the most paid, but there's a lot of like,
it's weird.
What's the guaranteed? And there's like a lot of like, with stipulations in the contract and a whole bunch of other
it's so stupid. And one of the things that I actually thought was interesting, and it's a clause that's in his contract that's in Antonio Brown's contract as well, and it's a new thing where it's like if you do something that's detrimental to the team or the team's image, they could fucking just cut you and they don't owe you shit. And that's
what does that even mean? Where do you draw the line with stuff? Or like, where's the line even?
I don't know. Yeah. Like, I don't know where that line is, but I just know that it's like new language that's in these contracts
to where conduct detrimental to the team.
Whatever the wording is, it's like pretty much like the shit vague. That like Antonio Brown was doing, where like he was like he put that picture on Instagram or on Twitter of the fine that he got sitting on fuzzy chairs, folks. Sorry. And he like they consider that as being like something that's detrimental to the team. Like that's like confidential shit. Like you shouldn't tell everybody that we're fining you $54,000 for skipping practice or whatever, And so that's why the Raiders had an out. Yeah. Like they could have not, because they owe Antonio Brown like $30 million
guaranteed. Yeah.
They could have had an out and like recouped $29 million if they just cut him, because he was doing shit that was deemed detrimental to the team.
If they suspended him, they could have cut him.
Right, they could have cut him, and they didn't owe him shit.
Yeah.
And so Zeke has that same clause in his contract, and Zeke fucks up sometimes off the field, and so people are thinking like, it's 6 years, $90 million or whatever. But like, after 3 or 4 years, if he keeps fucking up, the Cowboys are just gonna be able to fucking cut him and not owe him the rest of that money.
And
so he might not see the.
He's a running back, so he's got like
shelf
3 or 4,
right?
3 or 4 more years anyway.
But as far as for the immediate future, they had to pay that dude. You have to have him for the next 3 years, because as far as like windows to win, they're so fucking small in football. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, man. And there's different teams pursue different avenues, and some teams are like looking towards the future, and some teams are like, let's do it now.
Which is what the Texans are doing right now, dude.
For sure. But that's what the Cowboys are doing right now too.
They're in the same boat.
So let's talk about the Texans now. We'll talk about Jadeveon Clowney. That was all over. It's been fucking talked about ad nauseum fucking at this point. But, You got a 3rd round pick for him. A lot of people were shitting all over the Texans for it. I understand it. You waited. You fucked up. You should have traded him before July 15th or whatever that fucking date was.
Right.
Or, during the draft, and you could have gotten a lot more for him. But since that time passed, no one was going to give up that much for him. So you had to get what you were going to get for him.
Especially knowing that
That's
he
true.
wasn't going to sign.
That's the
Yeah,
thing.
for sure.
Everybody knew you didn't want to pay him, so it's like they're not gonna, they have all the chips, they have all the bargaining power at that point, and so it's better to get something for him than just letting him walk. I think. I know that you, Tom. I think you're like in the other camp where you're like, fuck it, just let him play this year, and if he walks without getting anything back.
Well, I'm thinking like what you're doing right now, man. You gave up 2 firsts and a second for Laramie Tunzel and Kenny Stills, respectively. But, yeah, I mean, no. If he didn't want to play with us, he's like, no way, this is gonna. I don't know if it got to that point. That hasn't never, come out. But like, I would have tried to hey, just play this. I don't know, try to settle things with him, have him come back. He was willing to play again with the franchise tag, but then he started hearing rumors about him being traded, and that's when he kind of changed his mind on his stance on things.
That's how you know the Texans are like win now mode, because like, okay, you give up 2 first-round picks, and I get it, like left tackles or offensive linemen are like hard to draft, quote unquote, but if you get 2 first-round picks, like you can man. Like I think you can find a good one, Yeah. But they were willing to give up 2 future first-round picks to get Laramie Tunsil. That means like
watching Deshaun Watson get sacked
factor.
62 times last year.
He won't survive another
season, and then you have the Andrew Luck thing.
Luck,
I think that kind of shocks you a little bit. Like, fuck, we have to do something now to address this issue, or you don't know what's going to happen to Deshaun. Deshaun doesn't have the cleanest injury history. You know, like he does get injured, so you do have to protect. You do have a little brittle. You have to protect him, and so I have no problems at all with the Tunzel trade.
Yeah.
I wish we would have traded Clowney a while back and fucked up in that department.
Dude, it's crazy. Like, Clowney and a first-round pick for Tunsil, but I guess Miami wasn't willing to fucking pay Clowney either. You know what I mean? Because like, if you give up Clowney,
Clowney didn't go on.
Oh, he didn't want to go. Oh, he had. Yeah, that's right. He could.
He wanted to go to a contender. So
nobody wants to go to Miami.
So I wanted to go to Philly or Seattle, and we worked something out with Seattle. So.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, dude, Seattle's fucking defense is pretty good again.
Is it?
I think so. I think he makes it. He's not as big of an impact.
The number 1 defense, but it's still respectable.
But
good
defense. I mean, but like, dude, like Bobby Wagner and fucking Clowney. Like, I mean, I think that's.
We had JJ Watt and Clowney.
Yeah, but that's true. But Clowney, Wagner's a linebacker.
My thing with Clowney is like I'm okay with us not paying him to making a big contract offer to him, because he's not. You're not going to pay him a elite pass rusher money.
Right.
He wanted Khalil Mack money. He wanted Aaron Donald money.
Right. Let's be honest. He's not as good as JJ Watt.
He's elite run stopper.
Right.
He's a good pass rusher.
But he's not as valuable as JJ Watt is right now.
Yeah, he didn't materialize into who he thought he was going to become. Great player, makes our defense better for sure, but you're not going to pay him because he stops the run like that.
Right.
Yeah.
He's how many times has he eclipsed 10 sacks?
Yeah.
Once? Was it last ever? I mean,
which is crazy, because by this point you would expect him to be better than JJ Watt. Because JJ Watt's already older. He's a little older.
You would expect the decline for JJ.
Right. But it didn't happen. Like, JJ kept, he's still playing at a high level, and Clowney never reached his potential. So it's like, fuck you, dude. We're not going to play you.
Clowney is not bad. He's not.
No.
He's good. He's a really good player. But is he elite? Is he a great player?
Right.
No. And you only can pay those big contracts to players that are elite and that are great. And Clowney's good. He's scary. And people always just look at that fucking hit from college that he had, and that's who he is.
But that's it.
And that's what people were playing. Like, whenever there was talk about him going to Philly, all the Philly fans are playing that video. It's like, that was fucking 6 years ago, man. Like, what has he done in the NFL?
For.
Like, he's played decent. He's played better than decent, but he hasn't become this monster. But when your
highlight is that one hit from college, like, your career
where's your
wasn't
pro highlight?
Right.
Yeah. So I'm okay with it. I mean, it sucks that we only got what we got for him, but we fucked up on that end. We should have traded him a long time ago.
Right.
No one was going to give up that much for him. Let's move forward. I think the Texans are a better team today than they were a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, before the offseason, for sure. Yeah, you're a better team now than you were before the offseason started. Your defense is a little, it's worse. It's a little worse, but I don't think
it takes a hit for sure.
But I think
we'll be okay.
But as far as the leaps and bounds that your offense made, I think it makes up for the lack in the defense now. Like, as far as, you're way better offense than you are worse defense.
I mean, man, look at the receiving core, though.
It's crazy, dude.
You have
speed on
DeAndre Hopkins, Will Fuller, Kenny Stills, Kiki QT, and then you can freaking freaking swing out Duke Johnson.
Yeah.
From he can swing him out wide.
Yeah.
Man, Deshaun has options. I don't think our line is going to be great yet, but it's going to definitely. Hopefully, if you shed 20 sacks off of that, 62.
Yeah.
Makes a big difference
for sure.
Yeah. Because he was.
Hopefully more. I'm just saying you shed 20.
Quarterback last season.
Yeah, dude. Absolutely. He was getting killed.
Yeah.
He got sacked more in his first couple years than Andrew Luck did in his. And what does that say?
Yeah.
So.
Fuck, man. That's wild.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting, man. I'm glad that fucking the Cowboys don't have to play the Texans for another 4 years. Hopefully those guys slow down by the time we play them again. Yeah. Because the speed, dude. Like, Kenny Stills, like, I'm not a big Kenny Stills fan. But he is fast as hell, man. That dude
Fuller
is a burner.
Too.
I know.
The thing is, like,
adding him to Will Fuller and Hopkins.
Injury prone, so whenever if he goes down, you still can spread the field.
That's
and you're
right.
not. You got to pay attention to who's on the other side,
right?
Because it's not all about Hopkins at that point, so.
Right?
Yeah,
man. Oh man, that's gonna be awesome. I think you guys are gonna be in a lot of fucking shootouts, man.
For sure, man. I think so. Hopefully, I mean,
it's gonna be exciting to watch the Texans. I think for sure.
I am expecting probably another 8-8, 9-7 season.
No man. Now I was kind of expecting that before the Luck news, but I think you guys can get to 10 wins with fucking Luck not being.
We won
there.
11 last year, which is crazy. A lot of people forget.
Yeah.
It felt like a 9-7 season, but we won 11 last year.
Right.
So
I think you can win at least 10 this season,
especially with Luck. I mean, Luck gone.
Luck gone.
I don't know, man.
How do you feel about Jacoby Brissett? Like, you think he's? I don't think he's gonna be that bad, but
I mean, I think he's like an above average quarterback.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if above average, maybe average quarterback.
You think he's competent?
If they're successful,
he's got enough. I think he's got enough talent around him, dude.
It
kind of like Dak or what?
All right, let's do this. Super Bowl picks.
Yeah.
Before we've had one game already, right? The Packers and the Bears on Thursday night. Do you guys have early favorites? Who do you guys think goes from the AFC and who goes from the NFC?
Dude, I like the Chiefs, man. I know a lot of people are gonna say the Chiefs.
I feel like they're too trendy though.
But I don't know, man. I just think I maybe because like I like Andy Reid kind of. I know he was like the Eagles coach for the longest time, but I kind of want to see him win one.
Yeah,
he's gone so close.
I know, and it's kind of annoying, but I don't know, man. I just kind of want to see Andy Reid win. If it's not the Cowboys, I wouldn't mind seeing the Chiefs win one.
So Chiefs and
so they out of the AFC, you get the Chiefs, and then the NFC.
I don't know, man. I don't want to say the Cowboys. I don't want to. I don't want to jinx it.
Saints.
I don't know, man. The Saints. It's because the Saints have made it to the championship game 2 years in a row, right? So this would be yeah. So they would have been right. Did they make the championship game 2 years in a row?
I don't know if they
for sure last year.
Last year, of course, that pass interference, that infamous missed call.
Right, man. I can see. Man, I know Bears were the favorites too, but they fucking looked like shit on Thursday.
You know what's crazy? Trubisky got taken ahead of Deshaun Watson and Pat Mahomes.
Yeah, that's wild. He doesn't know anything, dude.
And the Bears moved up.
Did pick him. He went first
to
pick him.
To take him.
They were 2.
Yeah.
They jumped to 1 to pick him.
I think it's gonna be Saints Chiefs, and I think the Chiefs are gonna win it. I think the Cowboys make it to the championship game though, and lose to the Saints.
Saints were my NFC pick, but I'm gonna just stop fighting destiny and just pick the Patriots to to make it to the Super Bowl
every year. Well, for over the last 3 years, I think it's the year the Patriots just nosedive.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm not going to veer away from that narrative. I think that the Patriots nosedive this season.
Boom.
This is going to. They're just going to crash.
They have to.
How far are they going to nosedive though?
Last.
They're not going to be terrible, but I don't. But then again, who's in that division?
Jets, Dolphins.
They've got nobody in the division that's going to compete with them.
So yeah.
They're in the worst fucking
I think they'll be
division.
mediocre. I don't think
Jets,
the Patriots
Dolphins,
are good.
Saints, and Bills.
No, Bills, not
Bills,
the Saints.
Saints.
I mean, not Saints.
Yeah,
the
Bills.
Dolphins.
They're legit in the worst. And so because they get like fucking 8 wins automatically every season, they always end up with home field advantage, and it's such a huge advantage.
For whatever
in the
reason,
playoffs.
the Dolphins always play them like
They play them hard at home. At home, yeah. That was at home. Play them hard at home.
So the Pats against who?
Saints.
Pats and Saints. Marlon.
The Cowboys, bro.
Don't jinx him, Marlon.
Cowboys and who?
Let's cut base.
No, I think it's gonna be the Saints, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who?
And take your pick, man.
You don't think the
No,
Rams
the Chiefs
are gonna
sound
make
good.
it?
The Chiefs sound good.
The Rams aren't getting any love.
No, not after that Super Bowl, dude. There's gonna be a Super Bowl hangover for them.
You think so?
Yeah.
They have so much talent though.
They have a lot of talent.
But I'm not gonna go with them. I don't have
Such a terrible.
I don't have a lot of faith in that team.
Yeah.
For some reason. But
You know what's funny, man?
they can't stop the run.
So they stopped Zeke last year, in the playoffs. Whenever they played the Cowboys in the playoffs, I don't know if you guys picked up on this, but I was pissed, bro, obviously, because the fucking Cowboys were losing. And I think CJ Anderson wrapped it up. Like, he got a first down, like, in the last 2 minutes, and they were up by, like, 8. So it was over, So as soon as the game was wrapped up, as soon as they picked up that first down, bro, I was like, fuck, because I knew the game was over, right? Dude, and then what do I hear playing in the fucking stadium? You know what they played, bro? In L.A., because they were at home. You know what they played over the fucking speakers as soon as they wrapped the game up?
Yeah.
Tragos Amargo Licor, bro. It was like... Like, I was like, what the fuck? That was crazy. They were just like, I don't know, like celebrating, obviously, that they were going on to the next round. But I was instantly just like...
For those of you who do not know, that's like the Mexican equivalent of Michael Jackson's Thriller.
Right. Or like Friends in Low Places. It's like one of those songs that everybody knows.
On that level.
And so it was like, when I heard that, I was like, oh, fuck, that's hilarious. Like, I couldn't, like, it changed my mood. I was like, dude, that's fucking funny that they did that. And like, it was perfect timing, dude. As soon as they were like first down, it was like, I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. I lost my fucking mind.
What were your picks, Tom?
I think out of the NFC, I'm going to go Eagles.
Oh, dude, I'm not buying it, dude. And I
think I'm going Eagles. I think
I
Carson Wentz. I like Carson Wentz, man. I think he's a great quarterback. I liked him whenever he was coming out of college, man.
Yeah.
I always thought he was great.
But he played like shit last year, and everybody's like, "Whoa, his injury." But it's like, well, what the fuck? He didn't get better all year.
He didn't play like shit. He didn't play amazing.
He just wasn't great, And like, I don't know.
He was on trajectory to be MVP.
Right.
Before
and then he got hurt.
So
right.
I mean,
but
I have faith in him. Well, then again, the offensive weapons that he has now are. They're decent.
But I think part of what made him great before he got hurt was his running ability.
Was Nick Foles?
No, but
Nick Foles standing behind him.
No, but he was elusive too. Like, he wasn't like a burner, but he was like one of those dudes that was like slippery.
Dude,
like, he would just and he was like strong. Like, he was
big.
big.
One of my fantasy leagues that year, and he put up like 30-something points.
Dude, because he would run, he would do it on the feet too. He was like elusive, and he would get away. And I feel like they're kind of gonna shy away from that because they're considering him injury prone because I think he had an injury in college. And then he had that injury in the pros. And so I don't think he's going to run as much. And I think that's going to affect the offense, just not having that option. You know what I mean? So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe this year he's 100% healthy and maybe he'll fucking break out again and show his true potential. But I don't know, man. I don't. Everybody's picking the Eagles to win the fucking division. And I think the Cowboys just have their number.
I think out of the AFC, I'm going to go with another team nobody's mentioned. I'm going to go with the Chargers, man.
Dude, without Melvin Gordon?
Yeah, they'll be
That's
fine.
Another one, dude. Oh, another holdout.
I think they'll be fine.
Yeah.
I think they can survive without Melvin Gordon.
Yeah.
I don't think the Cowboys can survive without Zeke.
No. That's true. Because but see, their whole offense isn't based around fucking Melvin Gordon.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
But I think the Eagles will win. In that, at the end of the day, I go with the Eagles.
Damn,
that'd be an interesting matchup.
You think so, man? I don't know, man.
I kind of want to see.
I don't want to say
it's so hard week one to decide on a winner, right? But that's just based off of last year, based off of the off season, the preseason. I think that those two teams stood out to me, and I like the Saints, but I'm just not buying it, man. I just don't.
I'm kind of I want to speak it into existence. The Drew Brees and Tom Brady going against each other.
That would be wild.
That'd
man.
be like a pretty.
Never gonna happen.
You ain't never gonna get it.
The Patriots are nosediving.
Oh, yeah, dude. You know what's funny, man? I think that if the Cowboys don't make the championship game, at least, I think that Sean Payton is going to be the next Cowboys coach because I think he's on the final year of his contract with the Saints, and he used to be like an assistant coach, I think, with the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And he has a relationship with Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
So, dude, Garrett is on the fucking hot seat, man.
Know,
if he doesn't at least make the championship game.
I feel like Garrett has like an N-word tape of Jerry Jones or something that he's holding against him because I don't know how he's kept his job all these years. He's hey,
I feel like
You
he's always
remember
had an
this?
excuse, like, oh,
His
Romo got hurt, or like, you know what I mean? Like, he's always had an excuse for
Yeah.
a bad season, but like this season, he's got no fucking excuse,
Yeah.
bro. If they don't make it to at least a championship game, he's gonna lose his fucking job, man. I feel, and Sean Payton's gonna be the next Cowboys coach. I think they're gonna make him the highest paid coach in the league, and maybe he'll fucking do it for us.
so you guys want to talk a little?
So with
fantasy?
that, with that being said, we're creeping up, on 45 minutes now.
Let's do a little fantasy talk.
Yeah, so with all those moves and the crazy offseason, we're all in the league. We're going to start covering the league a little bit here. We'll talk about it a little bit today. But pretty much, it's a 12-man league. All four of us are in it, and then a lot of our other friends. My brothers, my wife's in it. And we had our draft last week, of course. You always have to wait until the last fucking Sunday to draft. You do not draft week 2 of the fucking preseason. Don't do it.
Yep.
Crazy shit happens.
That's
Andrew
happened
Luck
to me.
retires. People break their legs.
I
It
drafted
happened.
Jordy Nelson one time, and then first round, I drafted Jordy Nelson, and then
Why
the next
would you
week-
not wait till the fucking last weekend?
I don't know.
Anyways,
it's best to do that.
So we're in a 12-man league. It's PPR. We do things a little bit differently. We have 3 starting wide receivers and only 1 starting running back, and then of course a flex, tight end, defender, quarterback. We play with an IDP.
That's different.
And yeah, we have bonuses for, certain things. We're not going to get into too much, detail about that. But I think let's break down each other's teams right now. I think I had the 3rd pick overall. Chris, you were 5.
I was
Marlon,
5, yeah.
you were
7.
7, and then Mike was 11.
11.
So just based off of that, we can run through our fucking rosters and let's just fucking pick at them a little. Let's dissect them.
Let me look at your team real quick. So you took Jameis Winston as your quarterback, right? You took him like late in the
So
draft.
I wait. I don't take.
Me too.
I
I do the
wait
same
late
thing.
to take quarterbacks, and I have Jameis Winston and Ben Roethlisberger on my squad.
Let's see, man. I like that you have a Kittle as your tight end, dude. That's the one thing that I regret in our draft, that I didn't take a tight end a little earlier. But it's such an advantage when you have one of the top 3 tight ends, man. It's just like having another receiver. Like those guys produce so well.
Let me tell you how I
it's
feel
such
about
an
my
advantage.
roster. I am not sold on my wide receivers, but I feel everywhere else I'm okay.
Yeah.
And it's we play with 3 wide receivers. They're a big
It
deal.
makes it tough.
So
Makes
it
a little
does.
tough.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's 12 teams, so it gets a little
My
thin.
receivers are Adam Thielen, Tyler Boyd, and DJ Moore. Starting, I have John Brown on the bench, Mecole Hardman, who's Kansas City rookie. Don't know if he's going to get any. I drafted him. Maybe he's a sleeper.
Yeah.
Um,
Dude, man, yeah. That's your wide receiver situation is a little tough, but
QB Jameis Winston.
But having Kittle helps that though.
my first
You know what
pick
I'm
was
saying?
Christian McCaffrey, who's
He's gonna beast.
he's a beast. Hopefully,
He's gonna go
I had him
hard.
last year. He did great. I have Kittle. Kittle's amazing as well. My kicker is Fairbairn from Houston. My defense is the Chargers, and my IDP is Kuechly.
Yeah.
That's my starting lineup for week 1.
Yeah.
Dude, it's crazy that you're projected for 146 points. How? That's crazy. That's a lot of points.
Jameis Winston is going to throw the ball a fuck ton, and Christian McCaffrey's
That's what
gonna
it
score
is.
with some
Yeah.
points.
And then Thielen's got a favorable
Thielen's
matchup.
gonna- yeah.
Dude, Thielen is such a fucking great receiver, man. I love that dude. He was like the number 1 receiver overall in like the first 8 or 9 weeks of the season last season. He had like 10 games where he scored over 100 yards in a row. He's such a solid receiver. I hope he can keep it up. Well, for your sake. But I'm just a fan of. I know, but I'm a
Do you
fan.
really
I'm a fan
care
of him. I'm
about
just
my
a fan.
team that much?
No. I mean, I'm just a fan of the guy. You know what I mean? He's just one of those players that I like. Is it because he's a white receiver? That's probably what it is. You know, it's like
Maybe.
I know, you don't get many of those that are great. You know what I mean? It's like,
So the
Wayne Corbett?
defending champ is your brother Adrian, and he auto drafted last
that
season.
motherfucker.
Yeah, well, he auto drafted the first few picks because he was late. He couldn't get connection.
Oh,
Of course.
I mean, his team looks decent.
Let's
He
see.
took fucking Mahomes in the second round, though. I don't know about
That
all
was questionable.
Yeah,
But his roster
like
does look a little scary, though, if you look at it. So, I mean, he has his methods and whatever.
Let's see. Let me look at your roster, Marlon. What's up? What do you got going on?
I got Cam Newton,
El Camarón.
El Camarón,
Cam
Mike
Newton,
Evans.
Mike
Mike
Evans,
Evans.
Calvin Ridley, Will Fuller, James Conner, running back, Zach Ertz at tight end, Marlon,
Marlon Mack.
Marlon Mack
my
at
namesake.
Not the Mack.
kickers,
Your
Steven
namesake,
Gostkowski.
Tocayo.
El Tocayo.
Defense is the Eagles, and Desmond King is his IDP.
Dude.
I noticed Marlon didn't have an IDP up until a couple of days ago. He didn't take one in the draft. That's okay. As IDPs are a dime a dozen.
Yeah, no,
literally.
I didn't see any.
Literally.
By the time I got around to my turn again, I was just like, there's a few spots I wanted to.
Yeah.
Again, solid tight end, dude. So jealous that you have Zach Ertz. James Conner.
I drafted him first.
I think he's going to fucking ball out because, without AB there, he's probably going to get more targets. Even as a running back, he's a good pass catching running back, and it's just easier to dump it off to your running back than it is to get it to one of your wide receivers. So some of those targets that used to go to AB are going to go to James Conner, and I think he's going to fucking ball out.
That's why he was on my radar. Will Fuller got burned last year because he got hurt.
So these guys had an issue with my trade last year because I traded Will Fuller and Tyler Boyd for Tyreek Hill, which I think is a fair fucking trade if you ask me.
Yeah, I thought it was a fair trade. I wasn't hurting
It's
for any
two
wide receivers
for one dude, and those two wide receivers were producing at that point. It was early on in the season. Look at the stats, man. It was.
But Fuller isn't a number 2 wide receiver. So you traded. He's like your flex wide receiver or like your number 3 wide receiver.
He's a 2 wide receiver.
Huh?
The numbers he was putting up, he's definitely a 2 wide receiver.
I mean, but for a couple of games, not for like a whole season though.
Well, because he got injured.
But like he always gets
can't
injured.
score points.
But you gotta factor his injury history, into the trade. Like I don't know.
I mean, he had a hamstring injury.
It's always soft tissue with him.
Yeah,
right?
but no, last year he tore his ACL. But it wasn't a bad trade. Yeah, last year he tore his ACL.
Shit. Yeah.
And then I gave Marlon a tight end as well. So I think Njoku was it? Njoku?
Yeah. I needed a tight end. I was hurting with tight ends, and I had Todd Gurley, who was putting up points left and right. Quarterback, I was trading Matt Stafford. I was interchanging Matt Stafford and who else?
Somebody crazy.
I don't know, man. I just think because like whenever you have like a top 5 wide receiver, I think you gotta fucking get a lot for that.
Tyreek Hill though is so I had a really good lineup. My lineup was the best in the league on paper.
Yeah, you had a monster.
So I wanted to trade for a monster home run. Like Will Fuller and Tyler Boyd at that point were consistent, not putting up wild crazy numbers. Will Fuller did every now and then. They were putting up good numbers though.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill had monstrous games, and then other times he was just kind of not all there.
Yeah.
So I figured that was going to help Marlon out because there's that consistency, and I couldn't start all of those wide receivers because I had 2 other. I can't remember what my roster looked like last year, but I had 2 other wide receivers that were very consistent that I didn't need both of those guys. So I figured trade these 2 for 1. Why not try it?
See, I think you're kind of this season. I think you're a little weak at wide receiver too.
Yeah, no, wide receivers.
It's always kind of thin.
It's
we go with like 3, and then there's 12 teams. It's going to get a little thin.
And especially since I was drafting.
But it's a passing league, so you have so many receivers.
But see, you're projected for a shit ton of points too, and I feel like my strong suit and on my team is wide receiver, and I'm projected for like fucking way less. It's wow.
Who's your number 1 wide receiver?
DeAndre Hopkins.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he has DeAndre Hopkins, Kyler Murray started on quarterback, Brandon Cooks is 2nd wide receiver, Cooper Kupp's 3rd wide receiver, running back Mixon, Vance McDonald at tight end, his flex is Austin Eckler, Mason Crosby's his kicker, the Jaguars his defense, and Deion Jones as his
I'm actually pretty happy with that team, but and I'm the guy that took Melvin Gordon, but he fell to like the 7th round. That's like I fucking have to take Melvin.
And we're not talking about our benches right now, but yeah, I think so. I think DeAndre Hopkins is a lock, but I'm not sold on Brandon Cooks or Cooper Kupp. I don't think those 2 are the most. You can't rely on them to be consistent. I do feel like your receiving core is maybe better than mine, but I don't see consistency. I feel like you have a lot of running backs on your team.
Yeah, no, I do. I took Eckler because I took Gordon, so I had to handcuff him.
No, for sure.
And then I
One,
took
2, 3, 4. You have 4 running backs on the bench.
I do because I don't know who my second running back is. I'm trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? It's like I want a solid second running back. I'm actually happy with. I don't share that same opinion. I think that Brandon Cooks and Cooper Kupp could both be number 2 wide receivers. Depending on the day, and then if one of them's a number 2 wide receiver, I think the other one could be a number 3 wide receiver. Like I think their offense is dynamic enough to where they can both be productive receivers. Cooper Kupp got hurt last season. He's also coming back from a torn ACL, but he's like the red zone guy. Like for some reason he gets so many red zone targets. So he's more of like a touchdown guy, and I feel like Brandon Cooks is more of like a volume guy. So we'll see, man. I mean, I'm pretty happy with him, and obviously, like you said, Hopkins is a lock for a number 1 receiver. I'm pretty stoked about that. I
almost took him at 3, man. It was between him and McCaffrey, but I was like, running backs are going quick.
Yeah,
I gotta lock me down one of them fucking elite guys.
Yeah. Right. So Mixon, I don't know, man. He's injury prone. So I'm kind of shaky on that, and then obviously I'm hoping that Eckler gets a lot of the snaps.
I don't know how good Mixon is for PPR also.
Yeah, no, that's true. But I just needed a starting running back at that point. You know what I mean? Like I wanted a running back that I knew wasn't going to be in a timeshare, or like he's the guy. He's the fucking guy there. But they also have a questionable offensive line, so that's kind of scary. But dude, if Melvin Gordon can figure it out, man, Jesus, he would make my team so much better. But it's one of those things where like I know that he has to at least play 6 games because I think that that's the minimum for this year to count towards his like a contract.
Yeah.
But I feel like if I just hang on enough to make it to the playoffs, Melvin Gordon can get me over that hump and like make a run in the playoffs, But the thing is like, can I get there? You know what I mean? Like, can I qualify for the fucking playoffs so that Melvin Gordon can have an effect on my team? So we'll see what happens, man. But I'm actually pretty stoked about the team that I have. I got the Jaguars as my defense, and they're going up against the Chiefs week 1, and I'm gonna play them, bro. Fuck it, because I think they played against Patrick Mahomes last year. And I don't think Patrick Mahomes scored a touchdown that game. That's the only game he did not throw a scoring touchdown on. So I'm just going to play him, dude. Fuck it. And if I get torched, I get torched. Whatever.
What do you got, Mike?
So I have Russell Wilson. My wide receivers are Tyreek Hill, T.Y. Hilton, and Allen Robinson, who actually had a really good game last night.
He did. You started him?
Yeah.
You bitch. How did you know?
Nick Chubb is my running back. I got Greg Olsen. My flex right now is Chris Carson, and I got Vinatieri, Cleveland defense, and Roquan Smith as my IDP.
Who's your tight end?
Greg Olsen, but I also have Eric Ebron and
bro,
Jack Doyle on the bench, which I don't remember drafting Jack Doyle. That was kind of
all
weird.
About the Colts.
Yeah,
and you're not a Colts fan, okay?
Poodle Coats.
Poodle Coats.
But we'll see how it goes.
Man, I don't know, man. I think it's gonna be. I think we should try to do something for like obviously the winner hopefully gets a trophy this year. I think Tom's working on the trophy.
No. I mean, I haven't paid like much attention to it. I got to get back into it.
We're gonna do like a league fee in addition to.
We're gonna move up. We're gonna increase the buy-in, but we're gonna get a trophy. And Chris won the league a couple years ago. My brother won it last year, and then who won it the first year?
Jose won it the first year.
So yeah, we'll get you guys' name engraved, and it'll be on there forever.
So 3 years in the books already.
But no, what I'm saying is, so we should do something like that for the winner. But I think we should have a loser punishment, dude. Do you know? Some people get like tattoos. Let's not go that hard. Yeah. Let's not do that. I'm not down to get a tattoo because I lost.
Well, Mike wanted them to get relegated. He was like, let's just kick them out.
Yeah. Oh. No, but then we would need another league to give them a chance to get back in.
But even then, like, what if the team is like, you have a key injuries and that's why, but I think keeping the same members in the league is key to having like the competitiveness.
Yeah,
because you establish those rivalries.
Yeah. Right.
And so though we do it, another way our league is kind of unique is that we have 3 divisions. So there's 12 teams, 3 divisions, 4 teams in each division. And are you guys in any? Let me just look. So we have Earth, Wind, and Fire. Those are the divisions. And
Hall and Oates.
So
it used to be Hall and Oates back in the day.
Hall and Oates, and there's 2 divisions. And now none of you guys are in my division. I got Defensor Fortis, my brother, Damn Lions, my buddy Mike, Vino Poppy, Jose, and me. And then my wife's in Wind. Then it's Chris. Aston TD's Ruben, the guy you peed on.
Yeah.
And then
sorry, bro.
My brother Eric. My brother Eric's usually pretty good. He's never won the league, but he's always
always
in the thick of it. He's always in the semis.
Yeah, he always makes the semis, I feel like.
His wide receiving core looks fucking nasty, dude.
I need to look at his fucking receiver.
And then Fire, we have Flint Tropics, Marlin, the Bangkok Ladyboys. Don't worry, he's Asian. And then Mike, Gridiron Throne. So those are the 3 divisions, and we'll be, keeping a close eye on those. We're called the Superliga. We'll keep you guys updated on it. You guys might not care, but we'll give you all updates on that.
We're thinking about doing like a little side weekly.
Yeah.
weekly thing.
Oh yeah.
Super League of Center. Bum, 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 bum.
Bum, 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 bum. But yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. This is week 1.
We'll keep you all posted
Pump for the season.
when I win all this.
Hey, come on, bro. You
Chris
never
thinks my
won
wide
anything in your
receivers-
life, bro. Come on.
Chris thinks my wide receivers are weak. I feel like he has way too many running backs on his roster.
Hey, dude.
So we'll see.
Let the shit talk.
Hey, bro. You try to win a fucking trophy without a good running back. I don't think you can. I think you need a solid running
I
back.
have Christian McCaffrey.
Okay, but I don't. So I need to figure out who's going to be a
No, I'm
Christian
just saying.
McCaffrey type player.
I'm just saying, you have how many guys on your roster?
Yeah.
And you have 6 fucking running backs?
No, I have like 4, bro.
No, you have
Calm
6.
down.
I counted them. You have 4 on your bench. You have 2 starting.
Well, I had to take Eckler because of Gordon, so that kind of fucked me up.
So you
yeah.
have 5.
Yeah, I have 5.
No, you still have 6.
Who's counting? Goddamn.
Anyway, so most likely to win the league out of all of us here. I think, so honest opinion, I think everyone's pretty balanced. I think you can't tell until the season gets going.
Right.
At least till we're a couple weeks in.
And then and then injuries always happen, so like our starting fucking wide receiver could, like, God forbid, Hopkins could fucking tear his ACL tomorrow and then game over, there goes my season.
Don't wish that evil upon me.
Yeah, don't say that.
I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry.
Anyhow, guys, this was episode 9 of the Well-Mannered Cartel. We'll catch you next time. Catch us on Instagram. Catch us on Twitter. Check out these badass new jerseys that we got. That's the home. It's the black and the gold. Chris has it on. Marlon and Mike both have the away. I didn't bring mine, unfortunately, but I'm still wearing black and gold. It's all good. But thank you guys for listening and for watching. And catch us next time.
All right, later, guys.
Bye.